Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks very much for watching that earwax removal video today. This is a big video. It's about 13 minutes long, this one. And the reason for that is because this was such a tough earwax removal to do. You'll see why in a couple of minutes. But what we've got here, this patient's come through feeling very, very blocked up in this ear canal. You can see this very hard wax. The reason we know it's hard, when we're holding on to the front of this wax, the whole block is moving rather than just that sort of front section. So we're just trying to wiggle this front section down. I'm hoping that this block is going to stay together. It's going to give this one big plug of wax. But what I can see quite quickly is that when we start removing this front section, we start to encounter this much darker type of earwax. Now, if you're new to the channel, the color of earwax when it's newly formed is cream. So it's a very, very light color material. As a rule of thumb, the older the wax gets, the darker it gets because it oxidizes, because earwax is slightly acidic. Now, that's not always the case. Some people do produce a much darker earwax in general anyway, but as a good rule of thumb here in the UK, this would mean it's older types of earwax. Now, what I can see is not only is it old, but it is solid and it is deep. So what this patient's done, this is a habitual Q-tip user. They've been clearing their ears a lot with Q-tips, and what's happened is they've pushed a lot of this wax further down into the ear canal, impacted it, so basically squashed it down, which spreads the wax out to the canal walls, and it can stick really heavily to the canal walls and form a perfect plug. Now, if you watch Tuesday's video, which is what it was an anterior recess video, if I remember, I'll try and put a link up there. That shows you that the anterior recess is just in front of the eardrum, and what you have is this raise in the canal, and it drops back down again. So when it drops down, you end up with this little valley or gully around the side of the sort of eardrum. And when you use a Q-tip and you're pushing this wax down all the time, what you're doing is pushing that into that gully shape, which means when it hardens, you've got this almost T shape, so you've got this wider end, or a mushroom shape would be a better description. So you've got this wider end which is held in by this valley, and this thinner piece that comes into the canal, which is what we're working on here, which makes these types of earwax removals really, really tough ones to do. So what I'm doing here to try and loosen this up, I'm trying to work all the way around the edge of this, trying just to get a little bit of purchase on this wax, trying to get it moving, but it doesn't really seem to want to budge. Guys, thank you so much for all your well wishes. Some people thought I sounded sad on the video on Tuesday. I was just so full up with a cold, guys. My throat was so sore. It was so difficult to voice it over, but I'm starting to feel a lot better now today, thank goodness. I think the lovely Mr. Green is going to be back on the videos soon as well, guys, so keep an eye out for him. I think he's going to be coming in a couple of videos time. If you are watching this on TikTok, guys, don't forget to check out the comment section below for the link to the next part of the video. I think this is going to be split into a 4-parter. If you're watching this on YouTube, you lucky fellows get to watch this in one go. So you can see it is really not budging. Just to compound things a little bit further, not that we really needed it to, there's also a lot of hair embedded into this wax. Works a bit like rebar. It keeps everything together, so all the wax dries around those hairs and binds it all together. Now, I'm having to use the Jobson horn here just to try and loosen some of this wax. It is just not wanting to budge at all. Now, normally I don't like using the Jobson horn this deep in the ear canal, but in this case, this wax is just not going to move unless I start breaking some of this down. You can see that front section just crumbled away. You'll see the dent there right in the center of the wax where the Jobson horn has been and scooped out that layer. It means now I can pull these sides into that gap that we've created with the Jobson horn and try and loosen it a little bit more. You can see all these looser edges now starting to come away, which is really helpful to us. There we go, you can see it just starting to fold into the middle now. It's actually stuck. You can see it's really stuck to the canal wall. As I'm peeling this away on this left-hand side, you can see it sort of peeling off the wall all the way down, giving it a little bit of a wiggle here. Let's see if we can loosen some of this. Now, I'm hoping by wiggling it that it's going to loosen this deeper section. My fear is that what's going to happen here is those slightly thinner sections now we've created on the side by scooping out the middle of this wax, that they're going to break away. Now, the reason we say to people not to use Q-tips, this is one of the major reasons here. I get loads of people in the comment section say, yes, but you know, we use Q-tips for however many years, and I've never had an issue with earwax at all. Don't forget, your wax production is genetic. So some people will produce a lot of wax and some will produce hardly anything at all. And what you do when you produce a lot of wax and you use a Q-tip is this. When you put that into your ear and you clear it out, yeah, I grant you, you do see some wax on the end of the cotton bud. What you don't see is what you've actually pushed down and left behind as well. And the thing is with earwax, as long as there's a gap there, you probably wouldn't really realize you had any issues with it. It's only until that gap closes up, which is what happened in this particular patient's case, then we start to lose our hearing, and that's when it becomes an issue. So lots of people say, well, okay, Rhys, you tell me not to use Q-tips. What am I supposed to use instead? Nothing is the answer to the question. A little bit of olive oil in there once a month, and just clean any wax you see come around the outside edge. You don't need to go into the ear canal at all. Now, we've just broken that little side section off there, which means we're down to this deeper wax now. We're getting to this stuff that's that sort of top of the mushroom that's just down in the anterior recess we were talking about earlier. And now I can start to see a little bit of movement. Why? We popped some olive oil in here, which is going to help to loosen everything up just a little bit. When you do get the wax moving, then it's more likely to slide out to the ear canal as well. And by using the olive oil and then just moving the wax, it also works it underneath. So it does help things from our point of view. You can see how these bits are really starting to break away now. We're starting, at this point, when you're a practitioner doing this, you start to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because you start to think this wax is never going to come out. And there are cases where you get this very deep and impacted wax, and we have to have a few attempts at it, because we clear out what's in front, we get to this kind of stage, this piece won't budge, and we have to put a lot of olive oil in for maybe a week or so with the patient, and then attempt the removal again. So it is a lot more difficult to do these ones, but we're starting to see a little bit of movement. Did you see that little jump forwards then? There we go, out that comes. So the olive oil worked underneath, breaking everything away. We've got that plug. Now this little beastie did not want to come out of that ear canal at all. There you go, you can see it's just coming out of the canal there. Look how dark it is, guys, almost ebony in color. It's that dark. It's actually, it's absorbing the light from the endoscope as well. There we go. You can see the ear canal and the eardrum there. Eardrum doesn't look particularly healthy. Patient has had some issues with their ears when they were a lot younger. So I think what we're seeing there is a little bit of scar tissue on that eardrum as well. But my goodness me, that was such a tough one to do. So we've got the second ear canal coming up now. And we look in here and your heart does sink a little bit, because it's exactly the same on the other side. So we need to remove this outer section first of all. Now we've also got quite a narrow ear canal here. You can see how the shape of the ear canal is almost like a letterbox. I don't think you have letterboxes in the UK. You have mailboxes, do you? But it's in the UK. Yeah, we have them in the UK, use them in the US. So we just got this little almost rectangular opening to this ear canal here, or oval I should say really. So we're seeing this wax looks just a little bit softer. Now this looks more like that clay type of wax consistency that we get. Now this type of wax tends to be very thick and sticky. So we're going to go straight in here with the Jobson horn. Let's see if we can get this wax moving. Let's sneak over the top. And fingers crossed it won't be as impacted as the other side. I'm hoping not, because of the shape of the ear canal. So because this ear canal is more of an oval shape, I think this patient would have found it far more difficult to get the Q-tip all the way in to press this down. But you can see just how almost dry and crumbly it's this really odd consistency. It's a bit like magic sand, kinetic sand. Do you guys have that in the US? It's like a children's toy over here, and it's like it's sort of a sand consistency, but when you pack it together, it almost goes like dry and crumbly. That's the sort of consistency that we've got here in this ear canal. See, I'm trying to avoid food analogies, guys. I put so many people off different things over Christmas. I'm really trying not to do food analogies, but you can see it's really coming away now. Now we've hit a harder piece. How do I know that? You saw the Jobson horn movement. It started to dig into the wax and then jumped. So we've hit a harder section of wax there, and that's what it just jumped over. So I know we're getting to the harder pieces now. Now, can we use those harder pieces against this wax plug? Can we get behind it and draw this down the canal? So we're really getting these nice chunky pieces coming away. If it comes away in installments, I don't mind, as long as it's coming away. So it's coming away here really well. That's a nice piece coming, look at that, coming away there. Nice big scoop. Now, the more of this we take away, the better the chance of hitting this slightly harder piece that's going to pull the remainder of the plug out in one go. That's what we're hoping for. There, we've got a little bit of light. We can see a gap at the top of that wax. So what I'm going to do now is just switch down to the fine end. No, it's fine end. The standard size Zollner tube, sorry guys. The reason I do this, I like to do this after I've used the Jobson horn for a little bit, because the Jobson horn is great for taking lovely scoops out of the wax, but it will leave some of this dry, crumbly pieces around behind it. So it's always good to go in there with a suction tube then, just to lift it up, get it moving, take some of the looser pieces away. It improves your view a little bit, and it helps when you're pulling something like this out. But you can really see, I think we just scooped the surface then on that one, unfortunately. This next plug, out that comes. The next plug we're going to, or part of the plug we're going to work on, is loose. I saw it move with the suction tube, so I know if we can just get the Jobson horn in the right position, if we can just get it just beyond the edge of the wax, it's going to pull this down. There we go. You can see I'm dropping a little bit further back now. We've got that gap, bit of downward pressure, drawing this forwards. Just took the front end off again. You can see just how full his ear canal is. Make sure you stay tuned for the ruler shot at the end, guys. There is a lot of wax in this ear canal. I think, off the top of my head, I think it comes to about 6 centimeters off the top of my head, I think. So we're just going to pull this next section forwards. There we go. You can see out that comes. Now, there was a little ridge in the ear canal there, and you saw that just a second ago. So as I was pulling from the back and trying to pull sort of in a downward diagonal motion, what I was doing was pushing the wax and it was hitting that ridge and then coming over the top, which is why we weren't getting that nice scoop of the entire plug of wax. So what's been happening is I've actually been taking the top layer off, but this section on the other side of the ridge has been staying there. And this is why it's always, you've got to be really careful when you use the curettage tools and you haven't got a really clear view in the ear canal, because you will get these little lumps and bumps that you're not expecting in there. So there we are, all nice and clear. That's what it was like before. This is what it's like after, so you can see a lovely 6 centimeters of wax, 2¼ inches of dark wax. You can see there, guys, you can see it was very, very old stuff. What a tough one to do. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did voicing it over. As always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another, and I shall see you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone.